And we need to edit one first line, and we need to add unset VCI match. So, hi everyone, welcome back to the Fortigate lab series. As part of my learning journey into Fortinet and Fortigate, I'm documenting each step to help others who are also just getting started. So in this video, we will configure port 2 on the Fortigate firewall to act as the default gateway for the Windows machine. So here we have, this is our Fortinet Fortigate, this is port 2. And here we have a Windows machine, and this gateway or this port should be the gateway for this device here. So we will also enable DHCP server on port 2. Our Windows machine can automatically receive an IP address. It is a foundational step that's critical in real-world setups and perfect for home labs, certification prep, or just getting familiar with Fortigate. So let's get started. Let's start by taking a look at port 2. So let's open, for example, PowerShell here, and we will connect to this IP address. And by the way, let's update our, so this IP address is here. Let's add that here. So this interface, port 1, is this IP address. So we are asking it to connect using SSH, and we add our password. Okay, now we are on this device. So first, let's start by taking a look at port 2 and how it's currently configured. We do that using this command. So show system interface. So show system interface port 2. And here we can see that we have only the defaults. So this interface does not have, so at this point, the interface isn't configured yet. There is no IP address or other custom settings assigned. But we can see that we have VDOM, so set VDOM root, and for example, set type physical as a physical interface, and set snmp-index too. But what are these? So the VDOM or virtual domain assigns the interface, the port 2, to the VDOM named root. So VDOMs let you split one Fortigate into multiple virtual firewalls, each with separate policies, routing, etc. So root is the default VDOM unless you've enabled multiple VDOMs. And then this snmp-index assigns a unique SNMP interface ID to port 2 for monitoring via SNMP tools like PRTG or Zabbix. So, all right. So now let's move on and set up the interface. We will assign an IP address and apply the required configuration. So we can use these commands here. So first we need to config system interface. We know we need to get in that. And here we need to choose, so edit port 2. And here we can set the IP address like this. So set IP, this is the IP address, and this is the mask. And then we need to define what is allowed on this interface. And what is allowed is only ping. So we don't allow SSH or HTTPS or anything, only ping. And then we can give it an alias, so something like this, port 2 and the IP address. And then we can take next and end. So this way we have, so now we have a command that we can check again. So the same command, so show system interface port 2, and now we can see that we have added IP address, allow access ping, and the alias. So now, since port 2 is up, and we can check with get system interface. So now we can see that port 2 has this IP address, status is up, and mode is static. So everything seems to be good. So now, since port 2 is up with an IP address, so let's use it to configure our DHCP server. For the internal network, we can start by checking system DHCP server by using the command show system. So show system, I think DHCP and server, maybe something like that. Okay. So here we can see that we have a default DHCP server here, as you can see. It is using the which interface? Set interface Fortilink. So we need to override this by enabling our own DHCP server. So to configure the DHCP server, we use the command. So let's grab our command in config system. So we can start by this command, config system DHCP server. Go in there and we edit the first line for the first command. First line here. So first we need to define the lease time. So we are setting lease time for 1 day or 8 hours, maybe. I don't remember. Maybe this 1 day, maybe 40 hours. Then we define our DNS, NTP, and we need to define the default gateway, which is, so here we can see the default gateway is this one, and this IP is the IP of our port 2 here, as we can see. So enter here, and we add the net mask for that. So set net mask, and we define what interface we are using. We are using port 2. And now we need to configure the IP range. So config IP range. Now we are into the IP config range. So edit first rule as always. And we set start. So start IP is 200. And end IP is 1 to 200. So next, end, next, and end. This way, now, so we now we check again with the command show system DHCP server. So show system DHCP server again. And now we can see that we have override the default settings. So now we have this IP and we are using port 2. So now let's try our Windows machine and see if we can get an IP address. So let's open this machine here. So now we can check if we got any IP address, and we did not. So when you see the 169, so that means we did not get any IP address. So if we cannot get an IP, then we need to disable the VCI matching in Fortigate on the port 2. But what is VCI? It stands for vendor class identifier. So when configuring a DHCP server on Fortigate, there's an option called enable VCI matching. If it's enabled, the DHCP server only responds to clients that match a specific VCI string. For example, only IP phones or thin clients. So when you disable VCI matching, the DHCP server will respond to all DHCP clients, regardless of their vendor class identifier. This is the default behavior in most setups. especially in general purpose networks. So how to do it? We can go back to our, let's try to log in again here. So we can again config system DHCP server, this, and we need to edit one first line, and we need to add unset VCI match. So unset VCI match, and we can end here. And let's try again here. So ipconfig and renew. Let's try to renew that again. And now, as we can see directly, we get an IP address, which is the 200. So now we are getting an IP address. So the Windows client has successfully received an IP, but can we reach the internet? Let's ping, for example, Google. And the answer is no. So but internet access is still blocked. That's expected, since we haven't added a firewall policy yet to permit outbound traffic. So let's head to this IP address to log into the GUI. Unable to connect to a server. Let's state that and log in. Later, and let's head to firewall policy, and let's shut down this. So firewall policy, and then create new. So name allow Windows machine, for example. So incoming interface is 2, the outgoing interface is 1. So source all, let's open it. Schedule always service, let's take all, also all, accept NAT, and here we need NAT. So, and let's take log allowed, let's take all sessions, so we see all logs, and click OK. So now let's try to ping again. Now we have ping, as you can see. So let's try to ping something with DNS. So ping Facebook, for example. It's working. So our DHCP and DNS settings are working perfectly. So now that our Windows machine can access the internet, so let's take a quick look at the logs to confirm everything is working as expected. So here we go to log and report, click there, and let's take traffic, or maybe here. As you can see, it is trying to call Microsoft. So this is the IP that we have from our DHCP server. So first it's trying to talk to DNS. This is the Fortigate DNS server, this one and this one. So they have 45 and 46. And then, as you can see, Microsoft. So let's try to, as we did Facebook, maybe it should show up here. There, you can see 31. This is Facebook. So That wraps up this video. We've configured port 2 as a default gateway, set up DHCP, and allowed internet access through a firewall policy. So if you are following along on your own lab setup, you should now have a working internal network with internet access. So thanks for watching. If you are learning Fortigate like I am, consider subscribing to follow the full lab series. So see you in the next one.